London. I'm Matt Brown, and you're listening to the Matt Brown Podcast. It's another great show for you today. Writer, director, and all around talented artist Donald D'Haene is here to talk about a documentary film he's made to recognize and remember his brother Erik, who's no longer with us. I'll tell you more about it right after this.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe. It's the perfect time of year to take a break on their spacious patio, featuring craft beer, espresso drinks, snacks, meals, and more. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
And we're back. Erik D'Haene died of a drug overdose in 2020. At the time, he was living in Vancouver, but that event wasn't his whole life. And his surviving siblings, including his brother Donald D'Haene, are telling his story to the world by way of a documentary film called Interpreting Erik. Erik was an artist, and he left a lifetime of artifacts, writing, sketches, and artwork that Donald incorporated into this film. Erik's story has traveled to film festivals around the world, and it will be showcased here in London at the Forest City Film Festival this Sunday. The second showing is already sold out. Donald hopes that Erik's story will change the way society sees and judges people experiencing homelessness and displaced citizens. He wants us to understand that displaced people have lived full lives, and Erik's tragic end, as well as the end of countless other people who have experienced homelessness and addiction before and after him, should not define them. Donald wants us to appreciate that it's not the displaced person's fault, and he hopes that after viewing the film, a person will leave the theater considering that possibility, and considering the possibility that any one of us could find ourselves caught up in a crisis or life-altering experience well beyond our control, and that we are really only 6 degrees or less from meeting the same sad end as Erik, alone, addicted, and found on the street. We wouldn't want our life to be defined by that last chapter, and neither did Erik. So this is the show that we're going to do today. We'll be talking with Donald D'Haene about Erik's story, about some of his other works, the upcoming Forest City Film Festival, and we'll get to know a bit more about Donald as a real-life person, too. And with that, let's go. So Donald, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so relaxed. I've got my coffee. Ready to go, Matt.
Excellent. Let's start with all about you. You've blogged for the Huffington Post. You've written 2 memoirs. You've been in documentaries. You've even made your own. More on that in a minute. But what's something that we don't know about you?
Actually, I think what's amazing is most people don't know everything about me because, when you're a writer and you have been interviewed as long as I have, you're very controlled in the story, in telling your stories. So I would say that what people don't know about me is I'm a lot more fun. I'm not a partier though. I'm an introverted extrovert. But I do love people, but I don't like groups. I don't really love groups. I can do it. And I number one thing is I like to enjoy experiences in life.
And so when you say you're an artist and people don't know a lot about you, it's because sometimes what happens is people know your work, they just don't know you.
That's right. People don't. The thing about certain people is the good thing about this is that everyone thinks they know me, which means that you're a person that people can relate to or they've experienced, right? But for example, one thing that people don't know is we never have company, my partner and I. We're just not that social. We'll meet people somewhere. And I love meeting people, and new people, but I'm much more introverted in my own life.
So let's get into it then. Your most recent documentary, Interpreting Erik, has been and is about to be in for a fun ride. So tell us about that.
Oh yeah, because I am most proud. I mean, it's been around the world, but I'm most proud that it's coming home. It's like home to rest in the festival that's most important to me, which is the Forest City London Festival.
That's just coming up in November.
Yes, and October 26th and November 2nd.
Okay, and so people can go out and they can catch it. You say around the world. What do you mean by that? Like how far flung has this thing gone?
Oh, I was very strategic in how I approach festivals. First of all, one of the rules is you shouldn't have it online, and I absolutely did that. But I entered one category, basically documentary. Instead of doing every single person who's on the film, I thought It's Erik. Erik is what the name that I want Erik to be known around the world. So I entered festivals one category, documentary, and we've done so well. We won like best documentary in Russia. We've been in Spain, Italy, South America, Brazil. Yeah. And all of that's fantastic. And Toronto, three festivals in Toronto. But London, this is home.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that it's being shown at the Forest City Film Festival. We'll talk about how people can get
Yeah.
tickets just near the end of our chat. But why don't you tell us a
Mhm.
bit about the film?
So I wrote my second book, No One Wants to Read That You're Happy, which is all about Erik, our story dedicated to Erik. And I discovered all his artwork and his letters because mom saved everything. And like hundreds and hundreds of paintings and stories that he wrote, which I know I did something, but I didn't know he did all this. So I incorporated a lot in the book. And then I imagined myself, I was like, oh, gee, I'd love to do something with this. And then I got a letter from Sue Brooks, who turns out now she's going to be moderating the event. And she read the book. And Sue Brooks has been an educator in London, AIDS Community of London, all kinds of things, Palace Theatre. And she wrote me this email. She said, I couldn't put the book down. And I had a dream that I saw Erik's words read with the picture showing. I go, oh my God, that's my live dream. Do you think I could do it?
Wow.
And that's what started it.
And that's how these things go, right? I
Yeah.
mean, when you're a creative
Yeah.
like yourself, you really don't know if something's going to hit you on the head when you step out of the shower or step onto the street.
And with that really good metaphor, I've been knocked out so many times because I've had so many wonderful curveballs in my life that it's just been a really wonderful thing.
Yeah. How much can you tell us about the film without spoiling it for those who are going to go watch it?
Oh, and yes, I am a control freak. Thanks for pointing that out, Matt. I'm very careful with the story, and what I will say is it uses over 5 decades of footage and photos, and we've been in documentaries before, so I had permission to incorporate films and all that material, and so it's a product of my mind in the sense that I did it. It's in 23 parts. And I don't think my partner said he really liked it because it wasn't linear. So I don't go in the beginning and then this happened, this happened. I go wherever I want it to go, wherever my imagination takes me.
Kind of a pulp fiction format then.
Well, I like that reference because that's a great movie. Um, but my imagination is what drives this. And because I had over 200 hours worth of stuff with the history and the new material and the new footage we filmed, I'm the person who knows all the stuff, and I imagine scenes and then I continue on. I do like with my editor, Tammy Hasel, who is a fantastic. She said, you come up with everything and then I will make it happen. And she made my imagination live.
And 200 hours of material, shrunk down to about
Yeah,
1% of that for the final product.
that's right. That's right. And people have seen it go, you have to really pay attention because you're going to miss something, which is the best compliment.
Absolutely.
Because you're not like yawning, you're not waiting for something, just meandering about something. So I would say, and you know what? I've got this book, my inspiration. This is The Conversation, Walter Murch on the art of editing film. And he's the one that did The Godfathers, The Conversation, Apocalypse Now, and completely inspired me in the choices for this film. And you know what? I don't think small. I go to the best and then hope for coming up with something that's interesting. You know what I mean? Learn from the masters, I say.
Absolutely. Okay. So just before we move on to a couple of different topics, just wonder how you think or how you want people to experience the film and how you think they're going to feel when they leave the theater.
Well, you know what's interesting? In one of the festivals we showed in Toronto, someone asked me, what would Erik think? Who's the most important person? My brother who passed away. And I said, knowing Erik, he would say not enough about me, and which is so cute because what I had to do to tell Erik's story is to use us. That's what I had to do. So you might think, oh, there they go again, talking about this subject again. It's not that we wanted to. We had to. We must do it to tell Erik's story. So I would say how to experience it, open mind. It's a carpet ride and you're in for a ride. And there's some enjoyable parts. Well, if you know me, there will be.
Of course, absolutely. Let's leave it at that. And just before we step away from the film, people could see it on October
26th at 12 noon. It's a deep dive. So they show the film for an hour, and then you're going to see my sister and my brother and a panel discussion of the film,
Okay. And then they can see it again on.
November 26th. And in a double bill with Cheryl, Nigel Nigel did this great film. Cheryl, I hope I got the title right, Cheryl, and it's just fantastic. So it's a double bill, and it's on the same theme. She was a person who was displaced, and I'm not going to reveal everything that happens, but it's quite a contrast to mine, and a perfect contrast.
Folks that want tickets, how do they get those?
Go to the Forest City Festival,
Yeah, Google Forest City Film Festival.
and you'll get how to get tickets for interpreting Erik. And there's like 100 films, so it's a great festival.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch it grow.
Oh my God, 10th anniversary. Boy, I didn't plan this, but I picked the right year, the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, you sure did. I remember being there at the first one. It was very grassroots, but you could feel the energy down. It was just outside the library, and you could see that this thing's got potential. And look where we are
Oh,
now.
shout out to Dorothy Downs, who is the festival director. She's like, I've experienced the world of festivals. She's top notch. She's fantastic.
So you've talked a little bit about your latest book, right? Which is
Yeah.
No One Wants to Read That You're Happy. You also wrote a book back in 2003, and that was Father's Touch. What can you tell us
Yes.
about these works? Why was it so important for you to tell this, what must have been a very, very difficult to tell story?
Well, I'm going to update it for our world today. I was talking with my older brother, and I was saying that there's no one that in the world whose story that most matches ours in terms of people go, the Epstein files. They go, how could that have went on for so long and nothing be done? Well, that's our story. And so my thing is, I had to write the book so that people knew the truth. Because if you don't, the lies are out there, right? So in the same way, that's why I wrote the first book. The second book I had to write because my brother passed away, and it totally jolted my system, and I had to tell his story through mine. So that's the reason I wrote the two books. But the ironic title, people think, I mean, I was interviewed once and they go, oh, it's nice to see a book about being happy. And I go, that's not what it's about. No one wants to read your happy is my partner's comment when I said I was going to write a second book. He says, no, you're not. No one wants to read that you're happy. That's the title. Because, right?
And so really, I'm imagining that it was cathartic for you. It was for you, but it was also, so we're talking about some really difficult to talk about subjects out there in the mainstream, so people know that they're not alone.
Right. This is absolutely true. It's a universal story. Everyone, like my film, everyone will find their own selves in it, and people, it's not as much cathartic as I had no choice. I have to tell the story. And as a writer, I mean, thank goodness I'm a writer, so I'm able to, right? And I feel what I really believe, everyone has to be left alone to decide their own path. So if a victim doesn't want to talk, it's their choice. And victims who do choose to talk, it's their choice. There are benefits from disclosing, but you have to be a strong personality and a strong person because people will say the wrong thing, right? But my siblings and I, we're like a force right now. I mean, we've been through the mill. I mean, we've heard it all. So that's one of the benefits. We're fearless.
Yeah. And when you're talking, you're also talking for others who don't have a voice or who can't express themselves. And so you're really talking for an army of people. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, the one that I'm focusing now on is Erik. Who is he representing? The displaced, the homeless. Talk about a person or a group of people who don't have a voice.
Yeah. Behind you, as we're having this conversation, there's a poster-sized picture of Erik. There's a t-shirt with Erik's picture on it, and he looks like a beautiful human being. We're just about out of time, but I want to just sort of open things up and give you an opportunity for the last word.
I'm not a poster boy for anything. I just represent myself, and thanks to my family, represent my family. They give me permission to tell their stories. But we must stop looking at one person to be all. I'm imperfect. I get depressed. I have all these issues. I've been in therapy. I am just doing the best I could do on this journey. And one of the things that people think is we should overcome. I don't need to overcome nothing. I'm surviving. I'm making it till the next day. And so smaller goals, and you might be a happier person.
I can't think of a better place to leave it than right there. Donald, thanks so much for coming on the Matt Brown podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more right after this.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe, home of family cargo and urban cycling. Test ride an e-bike along riverside trails to see how easy moving through our city can really be. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
Well, that's the show. And as always, I hope you know a little bit more about London than you did off the top of the show. Many thanks to Donald D'Haene for joining us. And as always, thank you for listening. This show is for you, and I actually couldn't do it without you. I'm happy to say that the podcast audience continues to grow, and the pace is still picking up speed. So if you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and please consider sharing this with your family and friends too. A reminder that you can keep in touch by visiting the show's website, themattbrownpodcast.com, and maybe you have a question or a comment about a previous episode. Visit the website and send it in. The messages come directly to me, and I'll read every one of them. And here's a fun fact for you. Almost every episode that has aired to date, including this one, was pitched by a listener who had something they wanted to share. Well, that could be you next. Pitches for future shows are more than welcome. Send them in, and we'll see what happens next. So, with that, that's the show. I'm Matt Brown, and this is the Matt Brown Podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye for now, and talk to you soon, London.